On April 9, 2025, Sarah Wynn-Williams stood before the Senate Judiciary Committee, a figure of determination amidst an atmosphere thick with tension. Her voice, steady yet charged with urgency, echoed through the chamber as she laid bare a series of allegations against Meta, the tech giant that had become synonymous with social media. The stakes were high, not just for Meta, but for the very fabric of American democracy and the global balance of power. Wyn-Williams accused Meta of colluding with the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, to systematically censor content on its platforms, a claim that sent ripples of shock through the audience and beyond. She asserted that Meta had developed custom censorship tools specifically designed to align with the interests of the CCP, enabling the Chinese government to suppress dissent and control narratives within its borders. This was no mere accusation. It was a call to action, a warning that the very platforms designed to foster free expression were being weaponized against it. At the heart of her testimony was the assertion that Meta had not only facilitated censorship, but had actively supported content moderation initiatives in China. She recounted specific incidents, such as the removal of Guo Wengui's account, a vocal critic of the Chinese regime, which she claimed occurred under direct pressure from Chinese authorities. This incident, she argued, exemplified a troubling trend where Meta prioritized its financial interests over its ethical obligations, effectively silencing voices that challenged authoritarian narratives. Wyn-Williams further alleged that Meta had considered granting the CCP access to user data, a revelation that struck at the core of national security concerns. The prospect of a foreign government gaining access to personal information of American citizens was not just alarming. It was a potential breach of trust that could have far-reaching implications. She painted a picture of a company willing to compromise its principles for profit, raising questions about the integrity of data privacy in an era where information is power. In stark contrast, Meta's response was swift and unequivocal. Representatives from the company labeled Wyn-Williams' assertions as divorced from reality, insisting that they had no operations in China and therefore no obligation to comply with its censorship demands. They emphasized their commitment to user privacy, asserting that they would never share personal data with the CCP or any foreign government. This rebuttal, however, did little to quell the growing unease surrounding the potential risks associated with AI technology sharing and the broader implications of foreign influence in American tech. The ramifications of Wyn-Williams' testimony extended far beyond the walls of the Senate hearing room. Her allegations ignited a heated debate about national security, particularly in light of the increasing integration of AI technologies into everyday life. The fear that tech companies might unknowingly or knowingly share sensitive information with authoritarian regimes raised alarms among lawmakers and citizens alike. The intersection of technology and geopolitics had never been more pronounced, and the stakes had never been higher. Wyn-Williams' testimony also shed light on Meta's financial ties to China, a relationship that had been scrutinized in recent years. Critics cited several instances in which Meta had used facial recognition on every person involved in Taiwanese and American business dealings that could be interpreted as compromising the Chinese bottom line, despite Meta's claims that it was not involved in any wrongdoing. The implementation of virality counters in regions like Hong Kong and Taiwan, for instance, raised eyebrows among observers who viewed these actions as a means of controlling the flow of information in politically sensitive areas. Such practices, they argued, signaled a willingness to bend to external pressures for the sake of market access, further blurring the lines between ethical responsibility and corporate profit. As the hearing progressed, it became clear that Wyn-Williams' testimony resonated with a growing sentiment among the public, a collective wariness of the tech industry's influence on democracy. Citizens were increasingly aware of the precarious balance between innovation and accountability, and many began to question the extent to which companies like Meta could be trusted. The implications of her allegations were profound. They not only challenged the narrative of tech companies as champions of free speech, but also prompted a broader examination of how these entities navigated their global responsibilities. The fallout from the hearing was immediate and significant. public opinion began to shift, with many expressing skepticism toward Meta and its practices. Social media platforms, once viewed as tools for empowerment and connection, were now scrutinized as potential vehicles for authoritarian control. The conversation around tech accountability gained momentum, leading to calls for stricter regulations and oversight of social media companies to ensure they upheld democratic values and protected user rights. In the wake of the testimony, the Senate Judiciary Committee announced plans for further investigations into Meta's operations and its ties to foreign governments. Lawmakers recognized the urgency of addressing these concerns, understanding that the integrity of American democracy depended on safeguarding against external influences that could undermine it. The potential for AI and technology to be used as instruments of censorship and control was no longer a distant worry. It was a reality that demanded immediate attention. As Sarah Wynn-Williams stepped away from the podium, her testimony lingered in the minds of those present, a stark reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. The interplay between technology and authoritarian regimes had become a pressing issue, one that required vigilance and proactive measures to ensure that the rights and freedoms of individuals were not compromised in the name of profit or convenience. Her words had ignited a necessary conversation, one that would continue to evolve as society grappled with the complexities of a rapidly changing digital landscape. In reflecting on the implications of her testimony, it became evident that the relationship between tech companies and authoritarian regimes was fraught with danger. The potential risks associated with AI technology sharing and the ethical dilemmas posed by financial ties to oppressive governments would remain at the forefront of public discourse. As the world watched, the question remained: how would society navigate this new terrain, and what role would accountability play in shaping the future of technology and democracy?